Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of HR to CHRO. And today we have Mr. Ganesh Pillay with us. He started his career with Infosys in operations and then at Forbes, Vijayan, where he got into training, and then Apollo, Bajaj, and sister concerns. And currently he is AGM at Cadila. So thank you, Ganesh. Thanks for giving us time. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Amit. I'm looking forward to this podcast and share my insights and excited to be part of this podcast.
Thank you. So, see, I've interviewed many people, many HR leaders, and quite a few of them, Ganesh, they started their career from some other domain, operations or sales or business development or shop floor and manufacturing. So, is this the method to madness that in case you start your career from some other domain, then your ability to get yourself aligned with the business or with the people from the other departments, it improves. Is that true?
Okay, I'll just try to answer from my experience and then we can derive at the conclusion which we are trying to reach. To give you a background, I have done my MBA in materials management and I never thought that I would be in the field which I am right now. So L&D training was never options also. In the list of options, it was not on the list as well. So as the tradition goes, looking at our parents, so the career stream which I chose was into supply chain and materials management. So I was good at that, and that's where I got selected with Infosys, where I was working as a process executive for a US giant Caterpillar. And then I was good at processes. So one of the leaders there identified me and he wanted me to train the people who were coming into this process. So it started from there. So that's where I started getting the flair of training and L&D. So it was a very small team size. So a team size around 15 people and hardly a batch of 3 to 4 people, which I used to train on processes and updates which used to come. So that's where I got. Then I attended a training program called Fish Philosophy within Infosys, and then I started liking and aligning to the L&D atmosphere and the training atmosphere. This terminologies I started using now, but that time it was all new to me. Because of my nature, I wanted to do always dynamic things, things which are evolving, things which are innovative and creative. I found that training would give me this opportunity. So that's the reason I started shifting my focus from what I planned to training and L&D. Now, coming to the question which you asked, as you mentioned, if we are coming from different field, does it make it easy to understand? To some extent, yes, because we have come with different mindset. We understand the business. We understand the business, what their focus areas are, what their priorities are, what their pain points are. So when, as an L&D professional, when we start doing the TNI or where we have the calibration discussion, that experience and that perspective really helps. So that might be the reason that the method to the madness, which you mentioned, that could be the reason of people being successful coming from different backgrounds.
So I wanted to ask you that your talent or your performance was recognized by a senior who asked you to do training. But before that, so a young training professional or HR professional who has started his or her career from HR itself, from training or HR, how can
Okay.
how can he or she get this business point of view, like which you had because you started your career in operations, but how
Right.
others learn that, get that perspective?
Okay. First of all, one of the mindset which this type of cohort should carry is L&D should always be aligned with the business priorities and business goals. So
Correct.
if you are driving L&D function in a silo or just as an activity oriented or just an improvement oriented, then that won't align or be seen as an value add. Then we will stay as a support function. Now we are need to transform as a strategic function. So first of the things, they need to sit with the stakeholders, make their hands dirty, roll up their sleeves. If they are working in a manufacturing setup, go to the shop floor, visit, understand what the real pain points are. So my suggestion to them is first have a stakeholder alignment. After the stakeholder alignment, look at the data around it. So whether what the stakeholder are saying and the data, are they matching? And then also go and visit. For example, if you are working in a pharma industry, which is my current industry, if you are in sales training, go on field visits.
Oh,
Understand what is the life of your cohort which you are going to train. If you are going to train a field officer, try to understand what his day looks like, understand what challenges he face, what are the headwinds he has, what are the tailwinds he has, right? Similarly, if you are taking a leadership training, leadership is a vast and very broad term. What exactly we are trying to develop and what is needed and what we are going to achieve after this training program. So I always suggest one thing: the proof of impact of any training program, any intervention should be decided in the pre-training phase itself. It
very
should
nice.
not be that after the training we sit and decide whether the training was successful or not. The metrics should be always decided in the pre-training phase.
Very
So
nice.
this would be my few insights: stakeholder alignment, data, and real life exposure. That is a must for an entity.
This is so powerful, Ganesh, because if the training program is aligned to the business outcomes or business needs, would you like to share some example on based on your personal involvement in the in the day-to-day affairs of the trainees, you were able to bring in a much better impact than it would have been possible otherwise? Any
Sure,
examples?
definitely. Sure, definitely. So I have a couple of examples. One is on sales, one is on leadership. Which one you would like me to share?
Both examples.
Oh, perfect, perfect. So as I mentioned, regarding sales, sales is more tangible. We are able to understand. So whenever there is an intervention in sales, what I'm trying to understand is what is exactly we are trying to improve. For example, what is the data, effort data showing? How many calls? For example, if an MR is supposed to do 12 calls per day, is that effort data first there? Is that particular MR doing a 12 call per day, or there is a lack in that? In case they are doing the 12 call per day, then what is the contributing factors? So there is a process, so people for pharma might connect to it better. So there is something called as an RCPA. There is something called as an pre-call planning. There is something called as an introduction planning, product presentation, product fabbing, objection handling. So all these parameters, when we deep dive, we sales is a broader term again. When we deep dive, then we get to know what are the strong points of the cohort, what are the areas of improvement of the cohort. So once we get that, then we prioritize. For example, if we get 3, 4 areas of development, then we prioritize it and then go back to the stakeholders. So the discussion is always to and fro. It's not one time discussion. Then we go back to the stakeholders to check on our alignment. So this is what we have found based on your insights, based on the data. And do you believe if we focus on objection handling, this would have an impact on sales? So for example, I can go with particular data. Today, out of 10 visits, objection handling is happening good or as per the expectation in 2 visits. So where we want this count to be. Now
Correct.
that's a metrics. So if the stakeholder says that I want from 2 to 6, my approach would be different. If the stakeholder says I want the count from 2 to 4, my approach would be different.
Correct.
The intervention length, the intervention duration, the quality of intervention, everything changes then. So this is the metrics which we decide at the early stage. So this was an example of sales. Now coming to an example of leadership. So first time managers is one of my favorite topic and something which I carry an expertise as well. I always strongly believe that though situation is changing a bit, but largely the trend was people were getting promoted just because of their performance.
Correct.
And being an individual contributor and being a team leader is a different ballgame altogether.
Correct.
A successful individual contributor can be a very miserable team leader.
Correct.
Sometimes by promoting that person, we are doing a lot of harm instead of good to that person as well.
Correct.
So first of all, understanding. So a lot of TNIs and a lot of background work goes into this. So once we decide the cohort, then we try to understand same again what we are trying to do when we are building this first time manager. What are the skill sets, goal setting, feedback,
Mhm.
situational leadership? What are the concept frameworks we want to include?
Mhm.
And what we are trying to achieve? Are we trying to improve the employee engagement? Are we trying to reduce the attrition rate in
Mhm.
that particular? So this all is done in the pre-phase, pre-program design phase, pre-intervention design phase. So everyone who is involved in this project has the clarity what the North Star is looking like, what we are trying to achieve. And that's a very specific data driven. And if an L&OD professional is able to align with business, talk data, and show proof of impact or proof of concept, then that L&OD professional can make a big difference. That's my take.
That's very
Hope I,
powerful. Yeah, please go on.
yeah, hope I answered you both the questions.
No, very well answered, Ganesh. So, see, sometimes L&D professionals, especially at the junior level or mid level, they say that getting mind share of business is not easy. We are just given a task and we are supposed to deliver the training. So, what you are saying is so powerful that in case they align with the business and decide on the training outcomes pre-training, before the training, and then go to business and understand. So, this problem will automatically get solved.
Exactly. So today the challenge is business is not seeing value in the training programs. If they see value, they will be your promoters. They will be your promoters within the organization and outside the organization as well. So they should see value and how it's supporting it. They should not see at this an activity base. So we have all our calendarized trainings. It should not be just an activity where just for compliance or just for a sake of having a training, we are having a training. If they start seeing value, they will become your partners. So that's where how you move from being a support function to a strategic function.
Correct.
And for that, you need to do a lot of groundwork. It's very easy to listen to this thing, but when you really get into it, it's a lot of groundwork, understanding different perspectives, different data points coming, what to prioritize, what not to. So as I mentioned earlier, stakeholder interaction is not one of the meetings you do. Sometimes you need to have frequent to and fro, and believe me, if you are consistent with your efforts, the stakeholder starts recognizing you, and the way they start treating you becomes different. Initially, maybe due to the earlier perceptions, they might not give you time, but you need to build that credibility on your own. So it's efforts, yeah. A lot of efforts is required to be.
This is very powerful again because getting mind share of business, like you were saying. So I'll come back to it. Before that, because this is one of the secrets of success of a professional senior leader like you, how junior people can aspire to reach that level by this one secret that they engage with the stakeholders. So the problem which I see is, see, I'm talking from an outsider's perspective because I never worked in HR or training. The problem which I see is that the bandwidth is very limited in the sense that they are very stretched. L&D professionals are highly stretched because there are so many number of hours of trainings that they have to do. They have to travel also. They have to file reports, and then take feedbacks and so on and so forth. And it's the same repetitive training that they have to do. It's not I mean, it's like the same thing they have to do day in and day out. So having that urge or that hunger to still go and find time to go and talk to the engage the stakeholders, the business people. So that is a secret of success. I'll ask you later how to go about it. But you mentioned that in your first job, your efforts were appreciated by a supervisor, and then he gave you an opportunity to start training. So the very important lesson learning which comes to the mind is that you have to be good at what you do. Only then you will come to the notice of senior people or your bosses.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah.
So this is one secret of success that I could gather without your sharing it. What are the other secret of success which a young professional should imbibe so that their journey, step by step journey to the senior level happens faster, and also the stakeholder management.
Perfect. So first, I will address one of the points you mentioned that these people are occupied, and then they are doing repetitive work, so there is loss of zeal or loss of enthusiasm. So just giving an analogy, just think if a doctor starts saying, "I'm treating n number of patients every day, so I will treat the first patient with all my expertise, and 10th patient I will take it lightly." So this applies to the L&D persons as well. Might be they will be doing same training, but the audiences are different.
Correct.
Right. The participants are different and each one matters. So if you are passionate about your job, so that should be taken care there. Coming to the workload part, of course, you need to prioritize. We all are aware about the prioritizing matrix. So prioritize your work. Always plan your work. Certain work should be for transactions, certain work for transformation, certain for reportings and all. Because training not documented is training not done. That is the rule which applies across industry, right? So if your training is not documented, is equivalent to training not done. If your feedbacks are not there, your attendance is not there, that is the base of, and it's a compliance requirement as well. So plan your work, prioritize your work, and at the end of the day, coming to your the secret of success question, which was stakeholder management as well. So stakeholder management is one of the important things. Plan, have regular connects with the stakeholder, try to be suggestive in nature, understand the stakeholder nature, right? Try to have your communication style linked. So to give certain specifics, a certain stakeholder might be data oriented. You need to understand, do a lot of background. So consider yourself as a salesperson while visiting a stakeholder. So think that you're visiting a prospect. So if a stakeholder is data oriented, you also talk on data pointers. You also talk a lot of data to them.
Very nice.
If a stakeholder is emotional, or he talks more about motivation, inspiration, feelings, then you also align your communication style according to that. So you have a rapport with them, you have a connect with them, and your wavelength and your language matches. So that's the first point where you break the ice and you get into the specifics. You also may need to have the right kind of probing questions, and these questions should be able to reflect your knowledge about the business. That stakeholder should feel that this L&OD person is talking business. He understands my pain points, he understands my priorities, and they will be able to help us. So that kind of perspective, that kind of image building, you need to do it. And success mantras which you asked. So this is a universal success mantra, whether you're an L&OD or any other professional. Be solution oriented mindset. So we have people, we want people who are come up with solutions, not the other way around. We might have experienced people, for every solution they might have problems. Right? So we don't want that. We want people who come up with solutions, who are proactive, not waiting to be told what needs to be done, but they understand the dynamics, they understand the culture, they understand what are the major priorities of the function of the organization, and they are proactive, and someone who takes ownership. And in ownership, there are multiple things coming in: the learning curve, ownership for themselves as well. And we are in times of AI now. Earlier, there was time where a trend was established for 10 years, 15 years. We learnt a skill, and 5 to 10 years we are sorted. But you learn a skill today, by tomorrow that skill is obsolete. We are in that kind of era.
Correct.
So the learning curve should be very fast. Learning curve and agility.
Very well said.
And all this boils down to two words: execution excellence.
Very nice. Very nice. So see, one question coming to my mind.
Yeah.
See, we're talking about stakeholder management. You also said go out on sales calls. Now, stakeholder management, the problem could be that the person who's the head of the business may himself or herself may not be aware of the ground realities, because maybe he was at that level 20 years back and the ground realities have changed.
Right.
So his or her idea about what he or she is looking for may itself be incorrect. So the L&D professional might be in a fix. So one, how should he know what to do, what is the right, and then how to communicate it to the stakeholder?
Okay. So a part of this I already answered in my initial thing, where I told about stakeholder is one, second point is data. So there you align what they are saying and what data is saying as well. So there you remove the perspectives and you bring the actual performance into the picture through data. Now, second thing, in case you are talking about just stakeholders at a senior leadership position, yes, the challenge which you are saying is right. But when I say stakeholder, it means each person in that particular team, right? So from the FO to the senior leadership, everyone is your stakeholder.
Okay.
Right. So when you are going to meet a senior head of the department, before meeting that particular individual, you need to do your groundwork. Now, what is this groundwork? One is data. Second groundwork is meet the FO, which is the first line. Meet their leaders, second line, right? And then you also, if possible, have certain cross function insights as well. So what is the cross function? For example, closest cross function for sales would be marketing.
Right.
Get their perspectives as well. Talk to HR, get their perspectives as well. So this is your groundwork. And then when you go and talk, you just don't talk perspectives, you just don't talk English, you talk business, you talk data, and you talk specifics. And believe me, people at top love specifics. And if you're able to connect the right chords, if you're able to understand their pain points, their priorities, and they see you as someone who is bringing in the solutions. So again, the success mantra. Someone who is bringing in the solutions, not only activities or just training programs, but solutions. Yeah, they will start.
Very nice.
They will start respecting.
And be good at what you do, because that is how you come into the do
Yes,
whatever
yes.
you do it excellence, like you said, execution excellence.
Execution excellence. Everything now boils down to this. We might have many concepts, we might have many frameworks. So, a second thing, this brings to second thing. You might have hundreds of frameworks. That doesn't mean you use everything at one go.
Correct.
What is required at when? I'm aware about many concepts. It doesn't mean I try to put everything into a particular intervention. Which intervention requires what? You need to understand that as well.
Very nice. Very nice. So see, we have talked about data analytics. We have talked about being passionate,
Right.
stakeholder in, interactions, stakeholder engagement, workload prioritizing. We have talked about solution-oriented mindset, proactivity, being proactive, business-oriented, and learning curve to be faster, and agility. So all these is very good. Apart from this, softer side, hard work, planning, career planning, goal setting. Some points on that, Ganesh.
Okay. Okay. So I think you are coming from a perspective of people who are just joining or
Correct.
maybe 3 to 4 years into. So first, one message I'd like to share is build your basics.
Mhm.
And let me tell you, basics are always boring, right? Basics are always boring, but that's your foundation. Be prepared to do the deep work, right? Be prepared to get into the scheme of things. As I mentioned earlier, if you are working in manufacturing, go to the shop floors. If you are working in pharma sales, go to field visits. If you are working in insurance sales, go to visits with your agents, right? So get the first hand experience of things, right? So you are able to relate when you're designing something, when you're coming up with the something, you're able to relate with the cohort for which you're trying to bring up the solutions. The first thing is get your basics right every day, all the basics right, and it will require a lot of efforts and consistent effort. So another keyword would be consistent effort. Sometimes what happens is people have the right concepts, are doing the right things, but they are not seeing immediate results, right? So that time they try to give up. But believe me, if you are consistent on the right track, you will start getting results, and the efforts you have put, they will be paid over time. To give you just a sales example, I have seen salespeople build put a lot of efforts in initial 2 3 days, but the output, the rewards were very less. But look at them after 2 3 years more, they were able to maximize this as well. The same applies to our L&D professional as well. When you're building the basics, the results might take time to come. The
Mhm.
appreciation might take time to come.
Mhm.
More than appreciation, recognition, though that are important as well. you also work for your self enhancement as well. Get 1% better. So all these concepts will help them.
So what I wanted to ask, Ganesh, let's say as a young training professional, L&D professional, I look at the next month's plan on 30th of the month, and I see that there are 17 days of training on these
Okay.
topics spread across the month. How do I plan to deliver those trainings better at the start of the month, planning that for this particular training, I need to spend this much time with this stakeholder, which is when will I do that? So that way, the pre-planning, like you said, the training outcome should be decided pre-planned. So some words of wisdom for the young L&D professionals on how they should go about it in terms of minute planning of the information they need to secure or they need to engage or whatever.
Perfect, perfect. I really like the way you framed the question, and I really like when people give specifics. So I can also answer in specifics. When the question is generic, I also answer in generic. So
Correct.
as you mentioned that, for example, there is an L&D professional. He or she has 17 days of mandates training upcoming plan. So first, let's look at the 17 days. How many training programs? So if 17 days, there might be 2, 3 training programs and others would be repeated. Now we have zeroed it down to 2, 3 training programs. Now, for example, let's take 3 training programs, 6 to 7 session each training program. Now in these three, what are the priorities of not me as an L&D person
Business.
about the business?
Correct.
What are the priorities of business? Now you identify the priorities. You 1, 2, 3. You have did the rating. Now let's focus on the first one. In first one, who are the stakeholders? What is the proof of impact for this training? What we are trying to achieve? How I will judge myself? Leave alone the matrices which organizations have. What would be my rating?
Very nice.
How I am doing that particular topic. Is it a new topic or is it a topic which is I have already delivered? If I have already delivered, what was my previous experience? Can I improvise something? Can I add certain activities on based on? If it's a new topic, what are the preparation I need to do? Is there any specific trainer who has delivered on this topic within the organization or outside the organization? Can I do certain research, readings on this, where I can give specific examples for this? So this is how you go about planning your
So I
training
asked in
process.
detail because it will be helpful for the junior people to actually do it granularly and
Right. So prioritize, then focus on the top priority, plan it well, and deliver.
okay. So
And yeah, sorry. So practice.
practice.
You should not go a training session, and that should be your first delivery of the training program. You need to practice it before the. You need to imagine the participant and you need to practice it. So that's where you come with the natural flow and the confidence into the session.
Just like stand-up comedians do, you practice and you the right cues and the pauses.
Right, right, exactly.
Very nice.
You need to be, if you want to be a successful, a differentiator, you need to create a difference for statement or different professional brand for yourself. Then yes, of course.
So
And I read somewhere that success always likes preparation.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. So my next question, Ganesh, is on passion, that being passionate. So I'll give two examples. This Nasruddin Shah, he's a very good actor and he earns so much more money doing movies, but he also does theater. He also
Okay.
goes to do this live theater because he says that the live audience high that you get is something all else altogether. Movies is very
Right.
mechanical. You don't get
Right.
that high. This is what. So it's only people who have that passion who get that high of training. Should they join L&OD? This is one example. Second example is there is a Tendulkar and a Rahul Dravid. Tendulkar is an inborn talented person, passionate about cricket and all. Rahul Dravid may not be that talented, but because he wants to excel in a certain job, so he has made himself grow into without having so many shots as a Tendulkar, but still he is
Hmm.
very effective. So these
Perfect.
two examples about passion. Passion about when you are good at something you like, you get the high, or passion of discipline. So some thoughts on both these two passions.
Perfect, perfect. Again, specifics I like that. So I'll give one overview. Those people you spoke about, right? Be it Nasruddin Shah, be it Tendulkar, be it Rahul Dravid. If you look at the common thing, these people were very self-aware.
Correct.
They were very self-aware. So,
Correct.
for example, Nasruddin Shah knows movies are for him and the society as well, right? For the society as well. But that theater is something personal to him. That theater experience. Why he's not leaving? Being a successful actor, earning money, he could have done one more movie extra
Correct.
where he could earn more. But why he's going there? Because he's self-aware and he knows what kind of experience he gets. So being self-aware, that is one. Second is you gave an example of Sachin Tendulkar and Rahul Dravid, right? Different approaches, and so you need to be aware that what kind of approach will suit my personality. Again, self-awareness. So two types of self-awareness. One is what I want. So what is the definition of success for me?
Okay.
For a trainer, my definition for success can be I want to reach a head of training.
Mm-hmm.
For another trainer, the career path might be something different. He doesn't want to grow the hierarchical ladder. That person wants to do training till the end of his life.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to spend the entire life into the classroom.
Correct.
Right. So he wants to become a expert training facilitator of leadership, expert training facilitator of sales. So what is your career path?
Mm-hmm.
Self-awareness.
Very
And
nice.
then what is your strategy in that? So as you mentioned about cricket, I'll give one more. So we have a Sehwag and we have a Rahul Dravid. So
Correct.
Sehwag is flamboyant.
Correct.
He doesn't care about techniques. He doesn't care about rule books. And at the opposite side, Rahul Dravid is a textbook player.
Correct.
Right? He plays as per the rules. Both are successful. Right? Because they are doing what their personality suits them. That's why they are able to succeed. So aware in defining the success and then defining your style to reach that success as well.
Very nice. Now the obvious question. It is very difficult to be self-aware. How should one go? Self-aware.
Self-aware, yeah.
It's not easy. So see, generally the life has become so fast that people don't have time to contemplate. 1 minute they'll swipe deals on Instagram. So the time which earlier people would go out for a walk and self-contemplate or try to become self-aware. So in today's fast-moving world, how do they get this awareness? Because people
Okay.
don't know what they want. People don't know what do they like.
Okay. So as you use the word fast moving world, so the answer lies there. Fail fast, fail forward. Don't sit and just think, take actions.
Very nice.
Many failures will give you different perspectives, different experiences, and then you can figure out that this is my definition of success. This is giving me kick. This is something which is aligning to my personality. Fail fast and fail forward.
Very nice. Like you did that, you were asked to do training, so you did not step back and you said, okay, I'll take up this challenge. So be ready to take up challenges.
Challenge.
So
again, just to summarize it, being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Correct. Very nice.
Yeah.
So how should a L&OD professional plan their career? That this is the way next few years I should do this, or before that, how do they decide? Being self-aware will obviously play a part, that I should move into HR altogether, or I should stay back to training. In training, if I want to reach the level of head of training or head of L&OD, how do I reach that? So I focus which training, how to go about it. Your thoughts on that, Ganesh?
So first, you decide what kind of career path you want to have. If you are not able to decide, same concept, fail fast, try out different things, right? And fail forward. So in case you have decided you need to become an head of L&D, head of L&OD, or leading that function. So your skill set at each level will differ. For trainer, your facilitation skills would have a higher rating. But when you become a team leader for team of trainers, your facilitation skill rating goes down. Your team handling, your team management, your stakeholder management, that increases.
Correct.
You go one top notch, again the metrics has changed. Though the skill sets might remain same, but the priorities and the importance and the weightage given to the metrics is keeps on changing. Now at the head L&OD level, so look at the profiles. So first thing I'll tell you, go and look at the JDs, look at the profiles, look at the job opportunities which are being floated in the market. What is the requirement for an head L&OD profile?
Very
And you
nice.
will find that it would be more related to business acumen, stakeholder management, more of impact rather than activity.
Hmm.
LMS, leading the LMS implementation. So where you are leading a lot of initiatives, be it different kind of internal intervention, succession planning, hypod development. So you then look at your skill sets. You have a comparison. So this is the requirement and this is where I am.
Hmm.
And then you decide what is the time frame and how I'm going to bridge this gap. So this is for an L&OD professional. Now coming to a different career path, as I mentioned earlier, someone wants to be a trainer or entire life. That's also fine. There is nothing, sorry, there is nothing good or bad with this.
Correct.
So in case you want to, then you want to see that your audience are transforming.
Hmm.
For example, today you're training individual contributors.
Hmm.
Tomorrow you're training team leaders. Day after tomorrow you're training managers of managers. Then you're training functional heads. So your progression will depend upon the kind of participants you're training
Correct.
and kind of topics you're training.
Correct.
So communication can be a very basic topic. Communication can be done for senior leaders, C-suite leaders as well. Topic is same,
Hmm.
but there is a
Correct.
lot of difference, right? So this way you need to, again, you need to see the same thing. What is the senior consultant or senior facilitator in today's field is doing? What are
Correct.
the skill sets required? And then you map the differences. That's how you do it.
It's putting it very well. It gives a clear path on how to analyze and see. I want to talk about data analytics, like you mentioned earlier. I also want to talk about AI, how AI can be used by training team by L&OD professionals to do their job better. But first, we also talked about fail fast. So some see failure is a taboo almost. Nobody generally people don't like to talk about failure, but both of us know that unless you fail, you won't succeed. So
Succeed, right?
some examples of your failures, Ganesh, that so when people generally, even at the starting level, see that even top leaders have failed and they became better, it inspires them. So, from that perspective, some examples where you failed, but you became better human being or a better professional because of that.
So let me tell you, whatever insights today I'm giving is all experience based, and all that experience has come from my failures. So all the stakeholder learnings, where did I get from? I used to go and implement launch. I was very happy. I'm launching a training program. I was very happy that training program launch ho raha hai. This is happening. But at the end of the day, impact zero, recognition zero. So where I'm going wrong? I used to do beautiful slides, design, and that gave very sense of achievement. But I
Correct.
got to know that this is minimum expectation. This is not to be for achievement, right?
Correct.
Then having very generic programs. So, for example, time management, we learned about time management, go and train about time management. Prioritize urgency, importance, but is it adding value to the participants? You are just giving them context, concepts. Is it adding value to the participants? So, these are all failures. I learned from it. Stakeholder feedbacks. When stakeholders have very generic or just very what do you call dull feedbacks where I expected I was thinking I am doing a great job. I wanted some encouragement recognition, but it was not coming. Again a feedback for to me, again a failure. So whatever I have climbed the ladder, it's through failing and not being an LNOD professional. I don't have that background of LN. Though I started learning through the organizations where they invested in me as well. So I always believe in this. There is always more to learn and fail fast and take responsibilities. Sometimes, yes, you need to listen as well because when you're trying out things, there might be people who might not understand your perspective and they might be also right from their end. their perspective. So take constructive feedback as well.
Very
Or
nice.
to put it bluntly, take negative feedback also.
Correct. Because
Learn to take negative feedback. Yeah.
that is what will make you improve.
Right.
So,
Right.
so young listeners who are watching, don't be afraid of failure. Senior leaders like senior trainers like Ganesh are giving you so many examples that failure is okay as long as you take responsibility and improve. All right. So
Right.
data
So
analytics.
just a disclaimer. Just a disclaimer. It doesn't mean that you just fail and do nothing about it.
Correct, correct. Don't
Right?
repeat the
Yeah.
failures, right?
So don't repeat the failure. Fail big and better.
So,
Forward, yeah.
so data analytics, how should, because L&D professionals, they are not from, or I'm assuming that they not be that conversant with data like an number cruncher or a finance professional. So how do they go about learning about how to analyze data? Should they do some certification courses, or should they go and talk to somebody in the organization, or they try to learn on their own?
All the three. All the three. Answer is all the three. There is no one answer to it. So first thing is you try to understand the concept first. So you have an internal mentor or an internal coach whom you look up to. What is data analysis and how you go about it? You try to do something, try it out, make your hands dirty, take a sample there. And now we are in the AI era, right? In AI era, you can play around with the AI tools. There are a lot of tools which will help you do that. Then, if that is a requirement for you to move forward and where you will be dealing with a lot of data and a lot of analysis would be required, and you see that becoming one of the major contributors of that, go do and certificate, invest in the certification.
Okay.
And then you, yeah.
So is it, see, organization to organization sharing of data is.
I'll just connect my charger. Yeah, you can go ahead with the question.
So the question is that many of the organizations or some of the organizations, sharing of data may not be that easy, or these
Right.
skills might not be so comfortable share, because it also includes how many people achieve what, and so many things.
Right.
They sometimes may not be very comfortable in sharing all the data with HR unless the organization culture is like that. So in case there is an L&D professional in that kind of an organization, how should they go about the data challenge?
Use an AI tool, create a demo data, give a AI prompt. AI will give you the Excel sheet with all the fields, replicate it. Just have a look at the fields which your organizations are using. Replicate it. AI will give you an Excel sheet with all the dummy data, which will look exactly like what is. So it's a simulation kind of stuff.
Very nice.
Use AI for practice.
So coming to AI point, so how can L&D professionals in which all way can use AI to become better?
Okay, so this is a very broad question and a lot of options. So one of things which I mentioned in my LinkedIn post as well, use AI as your preparation partner. So as we are talking about people who are starting this career at early stages, use AI as a preparation partner. Give them role of a difficult participant, difficult stakeholder. For example, you have a stakeholder meeting and you understood the stakeholder personas. Put that persona in that AI filter with dummy names. So I'm going to meet XYZ stakeholder. This is his persona. This is his communication style. This is the way he talks. This is the pain point, and this is the data which I am having. What are the possible questions, objections he might ask me? What are the things that will matter to him more? Just to cross check your understanding as well. You can have a number of questions like this. Make your AI your, what do you call it, performance partner or practice partner. This is one use case. Second, if you are a training coming up, give the persona of the participant to the AI. So this is my content. Check the relevant. Is the content relevant? Is this making sense? Can you suggest any activities which can be more relevant to this cohort? Can you ask difficult questions which this participant might ask me? How to deal with difficult participants? There is a person who is a most senior, and that person is going to attend today's session. He's there for an observation of my session. How I can engage, how I can impress, how I can influence this personality to make AI your partner. Rather than having generic stuff, give it specifics and make AI your partner. So this is one. And of course, there is a lot of things on career pathing, succession planning, which you can use. This is at a higher level. At initial level, these things can be done. and then building content. That is the basic use case, which I think most of them are already using.
Mhm.
In content also, don't give generic, have a instructional design based content.
Mhm.
So if you're not familiar with what instructional design is,
Mhm.
learn this. There are a lot of free sources available. And in case after learning you're confident, and in case just you want a certification, you can go for that as well. So instructional design is a must for early stage professionals.
Very nice. In today's world, how to keep yourself mentally motivated and mentally calm so that you don't get excited in a training intervention when somebody is asking or trying to, because people, what I've seen is they try to needle you also unnecessarily. So how to keep yourself? So do you exercise daily or do you meditate, or what would be your message to, so that you stay calm in such a situation?
So there are two, three ways to do it. First way is to give a professional aspect to this. I always try to visualize the difficult conversations.
Okay.
As I told, now we have AI. So pre-AI age, as I also used to visualize the difficult conversations and try to do much as preparation as possible. So that gives the confidence to face any audience. So the old saying which goes, you are confident only when you are ready to answer all the questions, not when you know all the answers. Right.
Right.
That is one which I follow. Second, of course, basic meditation, breathing techniques like box breathing, or what you call anulom vilom, right? Then doing certain brain exercises. So our right brain, left brain, there are a lot of activities which you can find doing that kind of brain exercises, which keeps your brain active and creative and innovative as well. And one of the basic thing for physical fitness I do is walking, which is I'm a very what you call for short distance, I don't use any vehicle. I walk. I prefer walking, and Surya Namaskar.
Very nice.
So that is something which I.
So what are at senior level, what time do you go to sleep? Is it a fixed time you wake up early? What time do you wake up early? How do you plan your day or your week or your month? Any tips
Okay.
on that?
So let me give you a very frank and real answer. I don't follow a schedule of, there is no schedule I follow. If sometimes there is work, I'm up till 2, 3 p.m. as well.
Very nice.
If sometimes there is no work, I need to rewind and relax. I go to sleep at 9 p.m. as well. So I see work-life balance as sometimes the work gets the major chunk, sometimes the life gets major chunk, but at a long, if you see, it's balanced,
Very nice.
right?
Very nice. So coming back to the Nasruddin Shah example, he said that interacting with the live audience gives him a high. So to the we have reached the limit of what we had set for the discussion.
Right,
Dinesh.
right.
So how impactful is training, because you are directly influencing a group of people, a cohort of people, and to an extent bringing some change in their life, in their mindset, in their way of thinking. How powerful is that?
So same. So I'll just give the same example as Nasruddin Shah mentioned that live audience training is different. The feedback from participants are same. It does the same to a trainer. Let me give you a specific example. There was one training session which I was doing. This was 5 to 6 years back for Sakal Group when I was with Sakal Group, and was one participant feedback which stayed with me. Okay, so there was a training, and there was a senior person there in the training room, close to retirement, right? So after the training session happens, that person walks up to me and he tells me, because Sarkar is a more a cultural, people converse in Marathi. So he told me in Marathi, I'll translate in English and tell you that this session was very helpful. But I wish I could have attended this session 10, 15 years back. That would have changed my career trajectory. And this kind of feedback stays with you. And this that person, see, people who are working into the system, you get feedback from them. This person was moving out of the system. He didn't have, matlab, he had no reason to just give a false praise to someone, right?
Right.
And that kind of, he told that if 10, 15 years ago, if I have got this training, today things would have been different. That is something And one more feedback I'd like to share is one person told me that I have attended trainings in different organizations, different forums as well. And the way you explained the concepts, where you were able to align the training with our needs. So again, the challenge which we have in training, the generic content. So that person was referring to that it was relating to them. They were able to see their day processes, their lifestyle, their professional challenges into the training program. So that kind of feedback stays with you, right? It does. That is what intangible thing that cannot be measured.
So it's like the job satisfaction. So you are a teacher,
Yeah.
and 10, 20 years later, a child you had taught 20 years back, and now he's an IAS officer or somebody, and he
Right,
comes to
right.
your feet. I mean, the same kind of job satisfaction. This is one job training where you can have it on a daily basis.
Right, right. Exactly, exactly. So that kind of job satisfaction and creating impact. If you start looking at your profession this way, the way we are talking, automatically things will start falling in place. You won't need not remember what we have discussed. It will start for this one point. If you're passionate and if you are thinking from contributing, things will start falling into place.
Thank you. So on that note, thanks for your time. It was a lovely discussion we had. I hope you also enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed. Thank you. Thanks for giving us time.
Thank you, Amiji. Thanks for this opportunity. I really enjoyed this discussion. It was a nice, refreshing experience for me also to relive and share those experiences which I had
Thank
experienced in the past. Thank you.
thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.